What's happening, everybody? Again, some breaking news in the world of comics. The distribution side has been shaken up again as news broke that Marvel has separated from Diamond. Yes, a lot of people have been clamoring for this, and finally, another hit to the hold, this monopoly that Diamond has had on the distribution side of comics for some time now. As we saw last year, DC, during the pandemic, DC kind of said, you know, hey, we're out of here, we're separating, but while they did maintain that connection with Diamond internationally within the US, they broke away from them. So now Marvel has followed suit a year later, less than a year later, and has teamed up with Penguin Random House, the largest paperback, what they call them, the largest general interest paperback publisher in the world. I believe that's the quote that I read. So that's huge, honestly. So it's huge on several fronts. One, that they're separated from Diamond. So that, again, that that monopoly that Diamond has had and all the issues that have come with them, that everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people have harped on, is done. But them teaming up with just this monster of a like a monster of a book company, publisher, distributor is huge. Like, that's just big news. You know, if you're a casual comic fan, this might not mean much to you, but as someone who likes to soak up the comic book industry in its whole, from everything beyond just reading the comics, all the behind stuff, all the hidden stuff that might not be seen, I thought this was cool, and I wanted to share this because it's just great for the industry. And at the end of this video, I will kind of drop a few lasting questions that I have, or that I've had, as I was kind of reading this news and letting it process. So be on the lookout for that at the end of this video. So now let's look at this news. Marvel, Penguin Random House. I also want to note that Penguin Random House was the merger. I think they've only merged 8 years ago. It was Penguin and Random House, and I was just kind of growing up, you know, reading books. You see those, you've heard those names a lot, and then didn't even realize that kind of merged. They're just kind of so used to hearing both of them. So hearing them together didn't really faze me. So wait a second, they just seem different. Almost had that Mandela effect kind of thing. But yes, they merged 8 years ago, 2013. So now we have them and Marvel. Also think it's fair to note, hey, two gigantic companies with a lot of reach teaming up isn't exactly the like the battle cry for like the small public, like the small companies out there. It's just two monster companies teaming up again. So, and I mean, Marvel under Disney and Penguin Random House, again, this massive book publisher distributor. Like, all right, so like it's cool breaking away from Diamond, but then it's still just two gigantic companies teaming up again to do some more stuff and make more money. But what it means there's a lot to kind of look at this from the perspective of the publisher, the retailer, and now again, from the fan side, it might not mean a whole lot. From the more even the casual comic book fan to the hardcore comic book fan, but to the less more on the casual side, I guess, because what this should mean is, and I think a lot of people are kind of hoping for this, is expanding the reach of American comic books, and just especially within the United States, maybe just not even just American comic books, but just all of that stuff, because hey, this other big company, a wide reach, and they have their hands, again, this is all over the world, not just in America. So hey, we can get these out to more people, start potentially seeing comics in more places, either trade paperbacks in grocery stores perhaps, or individual comics. Hopefully that'd be cool too, because I've talked about in the past where I used to pick up comic books at the grocery store. I still have a bunch of comic books. I used to walk down to the grocery store to pick up comic books. I remember even had a chance to pick up the last spinner rack that I had ever seen from a grocery store. Unfortunately, I think it was the distributor or whoever it was, ended up taking it back before I got to it. So this is, again, just huge. And if you have any sort of real relationship with your LCS, a lot of times you will hear them, different shops, and just talk about the issues with Diamond, their Diamond rep, and just contact issues, and just problems with shipping, delays, damages is huge. And just the ordering policies, as far as not limits, but maybe what is a minimum or requirements all of that. Returnability is huge because comic shops are just out here on a limb, just taking massive gambles with books. And again, part of that is also publishers are not helpful with that at all. So publishers and the distributor, Diamond at the time, had a big hand in that. So now this is a huge shakeup, and hopefully it just looks good for industry and leads to just better things. Well, now what this will mean for Diamond, I have no idea. There are still publishers that still work with them, and as far as I know, you still will be, or not you, but retailers will still be able to order or use previews maybe to do ordering. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like yet. Still a lot to be seen. I'm sure there will be more details coming out within the days, weeks, and months as it kind of lead up into later in the year, and hopefully this just kind of opens up. But again, this is still just a powerful shakeup, and I haven't talked about comic news on the channel in a while, so I wanted to spread this out to you. So, and definitely just want to see, especially for the hardcore comic fans who like to dig into the comic industry news and kind of get all of your opinions on this. Now, lasting questions, because there are some things that, again, as I said, I was kind of reading this news and processing what this will look like for retailers as far as returnability and just ordering how is it going to look? Are there going to be like the requirements that are necessary that Diamond has had? How are they going to compete with that? How are they going to compare to that? What this will look like for just stores. Again, this is Penguin Random House. Again, another company, a company with a massive reach, and you will find their books everywhere. So how will this look regarding stores? And we've already seen with Wally World specifically, comic packs and those DC 100-page giants. We've seen them in stores. Again, they moved to the comic packs. So both Marvel and DC. So we continue to see those. Will there be an edition of Marvel books in stores, in grocery stores, specifically Walmart? This is another big company that is seen in a lot of places, so that can expand the reach of comics. And another question I had, going back to retailers, are we going to have the same kind of, I'm going to say learning curve, that might not be the exact word, but that same issues that DC had, kind of switching from Diamond and going into these other two publishers, and retailers were having to, just like their ordering issues and some of those between those two distributors, we get delayed shipments, damages still, and other, I guess it might have, depending on which retailer or which distributor, some were having no issues and some were having several. So there's still a lot to kind of go into this, but again, this should all be positive news. And I think the biggest takeaway is just, hey, this isn't all on Diamond anymore. But now, and I go back to last year still, because that when DC, all the news broke with DC leaving Diamond during the pandemic is what made it a little different for me, because everything was getting shut down and everybody's expecting, unless I'm just I could be missing something. But from my perspective, it was, yeah, a lot of companies are shut down. So even if it was multiple publishers, who, at least within America, who was really open to an extent, to that degree? Everything should have been shut down, and as far as I know, a lot of things were. So even having multiple distributors at that time, I'm talking about specifically during the pandemic, not just during, even pre-COVID or as things open back up, I feel like there wouldn't have been a difference. But again, I'm just saying, open that up. I throw that out there to you, just in case, hey, I could be missing something. Maybe I got my blinders on for something. If there's something else I'm missing there that would have made that seem a little bit different, drop it in the comments, because I'm curious as hell to see how people got to this idea that things would have been drastically different. I feel like it wouldn't have. Everybody would have just been shut down. It would have just been more companies not putting out books instead of just shipping out books and having those issues with payments and all of that. Which was, the payment side was definitely another issue that people were having with Diamond as well. And I don't think that was just during the pandemic, although that definitely highlighted it, along with a lot of issues like this. A lot of stuff had been bubbling up, but probably just not to a significant degree where it was like wider industry and beyond the industry talk. But that COVID-19 hit, shut down, and all of that definitely just highlighted like, hey, you know what? These are huge issues within the comic book industry with Diamond and retailers and publishers. Like, hey, you know, we might need to revisit this. And DC did, and Marvel has now. But this is curious to see what's going on with the other publishers. I did see something that there are several other indie publishers who are either looking at other distributors or who have already been working with other distributors. It was kind of confusing, so I didn't want to put it out here until I looked into it further. I just haven't done that yet. But if I look into that after this video, and maybe I will kind of share an update with that, because that would be interesting as well. But yeah, so that's just the news. Marvel said bye, Diamond. Hey, Penguin around our house, what's happening? Let's have a meeting, let's talk. Let's go out to lunch. Have your people come on, people. So yeah, just share your thoughts in the comments below. Again, it's like talking about industry news, because I just soak up all the comic book goodness, not even just reading the books, but just everything involving the comic book industry. And I'd like to share that with all of you, just in case some of you missed it. And yeah, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. Happy reading, happy hunting, happy collecting. This is GENOTHADRAGON. Thanks for watching, and peace out.